was early 90s, and the wars were breaking out all over Eastern Europe. And everything was so tense that my parents weren't sure what to do. So on my mom's side, her mom kept telling her, like, no, you have to get out of here. Things are not going to be good in the future. Like, go, go, go.
Her family pretty much left the country during the Second World War, and they all immigrated in the United States. So she tried also for us to go. The conflict in the former Yugoslavia started in 1991. By that time, we were that generation of people who graduated from colleges and had to start our careers, but that was almost impossible at that time. For those 2 years, we were trying to see where we can go and try maybe new life somewhere else.
It was pretty bad time, economically more than anything else. We were struggling, so we wanted to leave.
They packed 2 suitcases, one each, had $600 in their pockets, and bought a ticket and fled to actually England.
That didn't work out. We applied for Canadian immigration papers, which did.
The situation back there was so bad that I was always hoping that wherever you go, it will be a better starting point for you, because I think at that time we come to the bottom.
Now that my parents were in Canada and my mom was getting her master's, my dad was working, and they were trying to raise me and my brother, life was tough for them. They had school, they had work. So my grandparents, they would grab a visa and come over for 6 months and then help out, raise me and my brother, and then they move back. And then a couple months later in the summer, they ship us to Serbia, and we spend a lot of time with them. So a lot of our culture at home and then over the summer was Serbian.
Nikola!
And that exposure to some other world, they will appreciate this one much more. So I think that was good balance. And grandparents just loved it, to be with grandkids. It's normal, they will do everything. And that freedom that they could feel, they didn't have to sit in the car and go somewhere. They can walk, my kids could go by themselves to the store. There are different type of lifestyle there, so I think it was good that they learned how the things work there.
We spent like 9 months of the year together so often when I was younger, and she was always such a positive influence, and when she was around, I always had to be around her. When she was like talking, I always had to be focused on her, especially when I was getting a little bit older, like 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, she was more of a positive influence on me. I kind of understood her view on life a little bit differently. Again, it's that same thing. Like, all right, it might be tough now, but it will be all right. Just keep sticking with it, you'll come out all right. And then being immersed in that culture kind of just like meant a certain resilience, because like everyone was like so molded by the war and so much tension. Like, everyone had a certain edge to them. Besides the food, besides the breads and the family being over there, like, I think my brother and I have adopted a certain type of resilience just growing up in a more Serbian culture. As tough as it was in the beginning to like leave our friends and kind of be uprooted for 2 to 3 months, like, it ended up being worth it in the end, because we got to see so many different experiences, got to become so much closer to family. And in that sense, it's like it's always family first. I started playing tennis when I was 4. I kind of hated it in the beginning. I wanted nothing to do with it. I would rather stay home with my mom, watch cartoons. Something clicked, and then I decided, like, yeah, Dad, I want to play tennis. Like, I love tennis. Get me a racket and let's go. Since then, I've been in love with it. My dad's been my coach ever since.
They kind of always expected him that he will be playing. It was just a matter of him figuring it out, because I always dragged him like a couple times a week. I mean, he started hitting balls when he was 4. It was a matter of him to become more serious about it.
It's tough to distinguish between father and coach sometimes, and that's kind of what makes the dynamic tricky. Luckily, I was patient enough with it that we were able to stick through it, and then we were able to work out the kinks, and in the last 10 years, like, it's been going really well. He's been my number one role model, my number one motivator. All the tennis success I've had, I owe a lot of it to him. It was kind of a chance happening. There was actually a point even when I wanted to quit tennis, like right before the summer, that I kind of broke out a little bit. And I was playing well that summer. Everything was going pretty well. And then Coach Orlando was luckily at a tournament that I was at. And then I played well enough for him to become interested. We kept talking, and 2 months later, I was able to commit. I knew that MSU was the place for me. And for me, I was like, whatever anyone else said, like, that didn't matter, because MSU is the school I want to go to, so that's the school I will go to. We went over in May, spent a week and a half, maybe almost 2 weeks there with her. My brother and I, we like took her on all of our adventures. We like walked around everywhere. We had her like walking 5, 6, 7 miles a day, but like she wanted to come. She was always like, yes, let's go, let's go, let's go. I want to show you guys. And then we did, we took her everywhere. And then everything was fine. We were having plans for her to come over, like for her to get another 6-month visa, come in November and stay until May. Unfortunately, she had some issues in early September. She was hospitalized, and one morning she had a stroke and passed away.
Ciao. Ciao.
I was beyond lucky to be able to go back in May, and that trip was my favorite trip ever because I got to see her so much, and I got to see her at that time, and still got to enjoy her while she was happy and smiling and always willing to do things. And it was beyond important to me that I was able to go and see her 4 months before she passed.
I'm thinking about that all the time. It was planned perfectly. You know, the way that things happened afterwards, that was great. That they had time, money to make that trip all together. And she loved 4 of them to spend every minute, and it was really great. Priceless, as you said. That's exactly expression.
It's a very, I think, immigrant mentality where the goal of the parents, like the main goal, is to set up your kids as well as possible. She had this mentality like, yes, I had to do whatever I can for my kids and then my kids' kids, for them to have as best of a chance as possible. That's why my grandma was like, no, like, this is not gonna be good here in Serbia. Like, you have so much more opportunity out there in the world. Like, go explore, go find somewhere else. Like, it'll be okay. And then that's what my parents did for me here. Like, they knew that I could have gotten a good education anywhere. They knew that I probably could have played tennis at a lower tier D1 school or some top tier D3 school. They wanted to give me the best opportunity to succeed in life, so they pushed me to play D1 tennis. They wanted me to get into as good of a school as possible and play as high a level of tennis as possible. And that's kind of that mentality trickling over from my grandma, just pushing for a better chance in life, just for having more opportunity for success.
Yes! Let's go!
I feel like my perspective has changed in these last 4 years. Like, walking into those tennis facility doors as a freshman compared to now is a completely different feel to it. I feel like sometimes I'm the one, like my grandma was, like pushing for the freshmen, the sophomores, to have a better chance of success in tennis. It's like doing what I can, not only to promote my tennis, but to promote the MSU tennis program as well. The fight is there every game, every point, every match, and I love seeing it out there. I'm beyond proud of you guys. MSU tennis is resilience. We work hard, we're a gritty team, we're tough, and like, no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is, like, I believe that my guys will fight. The resilience that my parents have had in their upbringing and their trip over to the United States has molded me as a tennis player as I am today. I have her name and the date she passed on my shoes, and every time I slide, every time I look down at my feet, I see her, that she's still there. Every time I look up in the sky, I know that she's there watching me too.
I think he is believing in his grandma, that she's looking at him and give him the directions.